Obama refuses to destroy ISIL. Why? Obama refuses to destroy ISIL. Why? Thank you for tuning into the Black Political Buzz Network, and my name is Laurel. On today's vlog, I want to discuss the topic of ISIL. ISIL stands for the Islamic State of Lebanon and Leviathan. ISIL, I-S-I-L, stands for the Islamic State of Lebanon and Leviathan. ISIL is a terrorist group that originated from Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda was a terrorist group that was led by the late Osama bin Laden, who was a member of the Saudi Arabian family. I repeat, Al-Qaeda was a terrorist organization that was governed or led by the late Osama bin Laden, who was a member of the Saudi Arabian royal family. And Al-Qaeda was the terrorist organization that struck or bombed America in 2001, on 9/11/2001. Osama bin Laden was killed in 2011 by U.S. troops. Osama bin Laden was killed in 2011 by U.S. troops, Navy SEAL troops. And those Navy SEAL troops that killed Osama bin Laden, they were later murdered. They were sent out on a fake mission. Those Navy SEAL troops that murdered or killed Osama bin Laden, they were sent out and lured out to the Middle East on a fake mission, and they were killed. Who killed them? I don't know. Was it our U.S. government? I don't know. Was it more terrorists? I don't know. But they were murdered. Sent out. They were led out on a fake mission to the Middle East and murdered. Now, out of the Al-Qaeda organization, terrorist organization, that has derived a new terrorist group called ISIL, I-S-I-L. Some people call it ISIS, but it really is ISIL. ISIL, which stands for the Islamic State of Lebanon and Leviathan. Now, these ISIL terrorists are much more brutal and radical than Al-Qaeda ever was. Al-Qaeda was not very well organized. Even though Al-Qaeda was successful in bombing and attacking the United States on 9/11/2001, Al-Qaeda, by and large, was not a well-organized organization. ISIL, on the other hand, is very well organized. And ISIL has a lot of money. Now, many military experts and many native Syrian citizens say that ISIL is getting its money from the West, meaning the United States. Many Syrian natives, not fake Syrian people claiming to be Syrian, but many Syrian natives and many military experts are saying that ISIL is getting its money and weapons from the United States, from Obama administration. So why is President Obama's administration and Congress is also in on this. Some members of Congress, not all of Congress, but some members of Congress are also in on this. Why are they propping up ISIL and keeping ISIL active in the Middle East? Number one, they want to get rid of President Bashar Assad, who is the president of Syria. President Bashar Assad is not a threat to the Middle East. I repeat, President Bashar Assad, the president of Syria, is not a threat to the United States, nor is he a threat to the Middle East. And he does not hate Christians. He's a Muslim, but he doesn't hate Christians. And there's a lot of oil in Syria, like there is all over the Middle East. Syria is also the beginning of human civilization in terms of organized human civilization. We know that Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and the Garden of Eden is in the Middle East. The Garden of Eden is in the Middle East. It was a real place. It still exists in the Middle East. And then also, ISIL is forcing moderate Muslims to become radical Muslims. ISIL is also forcing moderate Muslims to become radical Muslims. Radical Muslims which hate America and hate Christians. And these radical Muslims are killing moderate Muslims and Christians and Americans. Now, military experts and and true Syrian natives say that President Obama and the U.S. military could very easily get rid of ISIL in a matter of months with U.S. military ground troops. So why isn't President Obama and Congress sending U.S. military ground troops over to the Middle East to get rid of ISIL? You can't do it just with special ops. I repeat, the government cannot just, the U.S. military and the government cannot just get rid of ISIL using airstrikes or special ops troops. That's not going to, they can't do it. You have to have ground troops over there in the Middle East. So why is Obama and Congress refusing to send over U.S. ground troops, regular U.S. ground troops, like Marines and Army troops, like they did during the Iraq War and Afghanistan surge, like they sent over ground troops during the Afghanistan surge, which, by the way, did work. The surge in Afghanistan, it did work. It lessened, it diminished the Taliban's power. The surge in Afghanistan diminished the Taliban's power. So sending ground troops over to the Middle East to get rid of ISIL would work. So why isn't Obama and Congress doing it? It's money. And it's a religious ideology. President Obama has tricked, or he has persuaded many members of Congress into going along with his regime, with his ideology, by promising them lots of money from the Middle East into their campaign coffers so they can stay in power. So many members of Congress have been bought and sold. They sold out of America to stay in office in power because they love power and they love money. And President Obama has promised them a lot of Middle Eastern money, and he has delivered because he has a lot of pull over there in the Middle East. And also, for some reason, President Obama wants, we know he wants to get rid of Bashar Assad, but Bashar Assad is not a threat to the Middle East. It's not a threat to America. But Bashar Assad is not a radical Muslim. President Bashar Assad is not a radical Muslim. And ISIL wants all Muslims to be radical Muslims, which hate America and hate Christians and hate the West. So because Bashar Assad refuses to become a radical Muslim, they want to get rid of him. It's all about radical Muslims dominating the world. This is an ideology. This is a battle of radical Muslim or radical Islam versus Christianity. Yes, it is that kind of a war. And President Obama has, for some reason, I don't know why, but President Obama, for some reason, is propping up the Radical Islamist terrorist group ISIL. When the U.S. ground troops could easily go over there and wipe out ISIL, even though ISIL is much more organized than Al Qaeda ever was, ISIL is not as powerful as the U.S. military. And yes, the U.S. military, if we send over ground troops, we would lose some troops. That's war. War is hell. War is hell. So if the U.S. ground troops were ordered to go over there and wipe out ISIL, we would lose some troops because that's war. But ISIL would no longer exist. It would be beat down to dust or beaten back. So it would become ineffective. Like the Taliban became ineffective when we sent the surge over to Afghanistan. I say, we need to continue to pray. Continue to please pray for this nation. And support candidates. Support 2016 political candidates who are on board with eliminating ISIL, not containing. President Obama wants to contain ISIL. ISIL cannot be contained. How in the world can we contain ISIL when they live in the freaking Middle East? They live in the Middle East. They already over there in the Middle East. How can they be contained? That's foolish. That's a crazy strategy. It doesn't make any sense. ISIL needs to be eliminated so that they cannot achieve radical Islam world domination. Continue to pray that Jesus Christ is Lord for this nation. Continue to pray for our troops and continue to support political candidates who are on board with eliminating ISIL, not containing ISIL. Thank you for tuning into the Black Political Buzz Network. My name is Laurel, and goodbye.